I think we're recording. Got another dream. That's one I remember in pretty good detail. Okay. It's pretty interesting. Well, it's very weird. But I thought I'd retell it. Because it's becoming a thing now where I have these weird, crazy dreams. And it's just fun to retell them, I guess. It's more fun to listen to them later. So here's the dream anyway. Emily and I had gone to like Florida or something. I think Mom and Brent were watching the boys, and it was just me and Emily with the trip. And we had gone down there. We went on a plane. The trip to Florida was really nice. Nothing went wrong there. That's not even the part of the dream that I'm going to just get into detail about. We'd shipped our bags back to our house on the delivery service of the mail, or not the mail, the airport used. So the bags were not with us on the plane. Obviously, they would be being shipped back with that delivery service. And I got notification on my phone that they were going to be there before we were. I'm like, okay, perfect. When I get back, our stuff will already be there. Because I was a little worried because my CPAP machine was on board in there. So if they didn't beat us back, then I was gonna have to sleep without it, and I was worried about that. So I was like, okay, good. I won't have to sleep without my CPAP. Well, we get to the house, and like I get the notification and everything that our stuff has been delivered. We get the notification, stuff's back. All right, cool. We get to the house, come inside, and in the house, don't know how they got there. There are 4 massive dogs just lounging around the house. And I'm like, what the heck? And like somehow when the dogs came over, I don't know how they got inside, but when they came over, Franklin and Sadie had gotten terrified and made it into our room, and the dogs didn't know where they were. So Franklin and Sadie did not get shredded. That's part of the detail of the dream I remember. But as soon as we come inside, and my dad had come over to I think he was coming over to see the boys. I think Brent and Carrie were gonna bring the boys because they figured we'd be exhausted. They were gonna bring the boys, and my dad was gonna be there. He wanted to see them. But my dad showed up, and like he entered the house with us. And as soon as we get inside, these dogs just start going nuts. I'm talking like there was like a pit bull a bulldog, and like a couple of Rottweilers. And as soon as we get inside, these dogs just start, they just go nuts. They start like barking and running around and like ripping up the couch and knocking stuff over and like biting chunks out of the walls. They're just destroying the house. And I'm like, I said to my dad, I ran downstairs and grabbed a handgun, and I said, I'm not going to let these dogs destroy everything that Emily and I have worked hard to earn. So I gave him a handgun, and we shot all the dogs. And one of the dogs, I shot it like 15 times with a 45. And it was finally just laying there. But it was still alive. I'm like, how the heck can a creature take 15 shots from a 45 and still be alive? Well, it finally died. I'm like, okay, that's good. I walk up, and two of the dogs have GPS-enabled collars. I'm like, crap. So what happened was, I'm putting two and two together. Somebody shipped their dogs with this service. And somehow they had the code to our garage door, and they just let the dogs in the house. They were not our dogs, but somehow they let them in the house. Oh, jeez. Eat them up over there, pal. They let these dogs in the house. They weren't ours. Whoever they were going to be looking for them because they didn't show up where they were supposed to show up. And we had no idea, like, time frame on how soon they'd get here. If the mail service would be like, oh yeah, we shipped them here instead of here. Like, we were like crapping in our pants. And I'm like, we have got to get rid of these collars ASAP. So the first idea that I had was I was going to go into town and flush the collars down the toilet, because if the toilets were on a city sewer system, if you flush something on a city sewer system, try saying that 6 times fast. If you flush something, it's gonna travel a long distance, and like, you wouldn't have to be like on camera. Or like, you would have plausible deniability. Like, if you went into a store and you used the bathroom and then walked out, okay, there are hundreds of people that are on camera walking into a store, and there are dozens of people that use the bathroom. Like, it's not like, oh, you went to the bathroom at this store. It would be a very non-conspicuous way to ditch these collars. And so I looked it up, and the whole entire town of Allendale was on septic tank systems. So at that point, it becomes a little more conspicuous, because if they could pinpoint, like, okay, the collars arrived at said location at 3:34 p.m. Okay, let's go and see who used the bathroom at 3:34 p.m. then it becomes a little more conspicuous. Oh, it just so happens to be the exact same guy where we track the dogs, or where we accidentally dropped them off. There would be very little plausible deniability. So I'm like, I can't do that. I'm gonna have to take them somewhere. So in my mind, the only place that I knew I could ditch these collars, where it wasn't like, I figured there'd be no way that they could find these things and determine that there were not dead dogs attached to them, was the bottom of Lake Michigan. So, and I don't know why I thought that. It was supposed to be like some epic solution to the problem. I got in my truck and started heading towards the pier on my, not on the state park side of things, but on the other side. And they had built up, when I finally got out there, I parked it like in the Aldine shipyards. And I'm walking back there. And I'm dressed. I had like a nice shirt on, because for some reason I figured that the rich people would think that I lived out there if I dressed more like them. But what nobody knew, and this is the weird part, is that I had a Batman suit in my pocket. A real Batman suit that if I put it on, I could fly. I could like jump into the air and then like glide if I flapped the wings of the suit. I had that in my pocket. So the plan was to toss the collars overboard into the water and then fly to the other side of the state park and hang out there and see if anybody was tracking these collars. Because if they were following me, I wanted to be like, oh, I was on the other side of the channel. There's no way that it could have been me. Well, in order to get out there, they had like built up the whole way of the walk out to the end of the pier. They had built it into like a restaurant place. It was very strange. And by this point in time, it kind of felt like an old-time bar. And so I was walking through, and there were like the floors were made out of like these old boards. Think like 8th Street Grill, where like the floors are kind of creaky and it's wood. I think that's 8th Street Grill I'm thinking of. Anyways, I get out there and there's this girl behind the bar who was like, hey, don't I know you? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know. I've never seen you before. And like I kept trying to continue walking because, again, I don't know if anybody's tracking these collars. Like, I cannot get caught. And I just had a feeling that they were behind me. And on the way there, at one point in time, Emily called me and said, there are people outside looking for the dogs. I told them that the dogs ran away. And they believed it because they were all like really dopey. And they left. But they're following the collars. So I didn't know how far away they were. at that point. It's not like, oh, there's an ETA on these people. They're going to find you. So I needed to keep moving. So this girl at the behind the bar is chatting me up. Trying to. Oh, I went to high school with you. You went to Granville, didn't you? I said, no, I did not. I told her I went to Jenison or something. It was a lie because I didn't want it to be like, oh yeah, that guy, he came through. He, you know, like at every point in time, I'm trying to be deceptive and not give anyone any sort of like, oh yeah, he was here. Not that it even would have mattered, but in my mind it did. Oh, I'm like, oh, I really got to get going. Sorry, I'm meeting someone out there. So, at one point, I'm like, all right, I think the coast is clear, and I ducked into this little like closet area where they had like brooms and like chairs, and there was like an old computer back there. And I put my Batman suit on. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. You know, I'm getting all psyched out. And as soon as I step out and I'm walking, and I had shorts on, by the way, so it was just like the top half of a Batman suit with a cape and then like black shorts on, because it was hot. The collars were in my pocket. I think I had a gun in my pocket too. And as soon as I do that, there was this black female police officer, like very shortly after I walked out the door. And she goes, you need to take that off right now. I'm not going to let you wear that. And I was like, okay, sorry. So I just took the mask off and took the part off of it. I'm like, crap. I'm not going to have a way to glide across the channel or to have a, you know, disguise. Funny, there's a cop that just passed me on the road. Here I am talking about like dodging the cops, and then there's one literally. Long story short, I made it out to the water, and I tossed the collars into the water. I think I ended up throwing the Batman suit into the water too, and it just sank right to the bottom. And as I was walking back in to go back to the truck, the people were like just like noses into their phones. Just, they didn't even look up. They didn't even see me. They walked right past me. It was like some dopey, short, fat, spiky haired, the whole family. They all had the same haircut, and they were all wearing Hawaiian shirts. The dad and the mom were both about 5'5". They all had like kind of faded blonde, spiky hair, and they were all fat. They were all like really fat, looking for their pit bull, bulldog, and their 2 Rottweilers. And they were like, oh, I think at one point, as I was walking through the bar room where the girl was that had tried to chat me up, they said, hey, have you seen a dog come through here? She was like, I think so. So then according to them, the dogs came through there. Only 2 of them though. The dogs came through and probably jumped in the water and died. But I ended up getting away with it. I think I ended up, like, when I got home, I'm like, okay, we got to get these dogs in the burn barrel. I'm pretty sure I said that. Pretty sadistic, but, you know, I don't care about those stupid dogs. They tear up my house. Screw those dogs. Shoot those dogs. Blow them away. Alright, I'm at work, and I'm almost late, so this video's got to end. Hopefully your day goes good today.